Alawale Week. I'm sorry. Gabriel Majewski, Farad Tate. So we don't see any of these witnesses on the Zoom. Okay. Excuse me, I'm trying to clear my screen up. All right. So do we have Kevin Thomas, Chairman of the Commission of Father, Men, and Boys? Is that a yes or no? Okay. Hearing none, we have the government witness, beginning with the Mayor's Office on African Affairs, Director Kaba. This is not worded right. How you doing, Director?
I'm doing great. Thank you very much. Yourself?
Doing well. Doing well. I'm having a little technical difficulties, but we're going to work through it. And also, I think my screen name need to be changed. But Director, if you have an opening statement, you should go right ahead.
All right, thank you. So good afternoon, Chairperson White, members of the Committee on Recreation, Library, and Youth Affairs, and member of the public. My name is Ali Kabar, and I'm the Executive Director of the Mayor's Office on African Affairs, also known as MOAA. Today, I'm pleased to testify before the committee about the Mayor's Office on African Affairs accomplishment for the fiscal year 2023 and 2024 today. First, I want to thank Mayor Bowser for her leadership and commitment to supporting the district African community. It is an honor for MOAA to serve the African community in the district and participate in the effort to mitigate the effect of COVID-19 on our residents and ensure that every resident of the district has access to the middle class. At MOAA, we are proud of our team's dedication, along with the valuable contribution from the Commission on African Affairs to bring quality programs to the African community in the district. Through our 6 areas of programs, the Mayor's Office on African Affairs ensures that the growing African community fully leverages the diverse services offered by the District of Columbia government. Key partnerships have played a major role in our events, programs, outreach activities, and initiatives throughout the fiscal year 23-24 to date. I want to take this opportunity to explain some of these event, programming, outreach activities. In support of Mayor Bowser's commitment to public safety, the Mayor's Office on African Affairs facilitated a bi-weekly outreach program across the 8 wards. This collaboration with the African Liaison Unit within the Metropolitan Police Department addressed long-term public safety concerns related to cultural and language barriers, lack of understanding, and fear of law enforcement. Over 1,000 private security rebate program cards were distributed as part of this initiative. In collaboration with the EOM Grant-Making Committee, the Mayor's Office on African Affairs oversaw 46 grants, including the $3.5 million FY23 Immigration Justice Legal Services Grant, the $145,000 FY23 African Community Development Grant Program. This grant aligned with Mayor Bowser's priorities played a key role in providing funding support to community-based organizations in the area of immigration, economic and workforce development, health and human services, youth engagement, and the promotion of art, culture, and humanities. As a consultative agency, MOAA contributed to the Office of Human Rights by reviewing and analyzing over 35 applications, ensuring the selection of top translation interpretation services vendor for DC government agencies under a CDY contract. Additionally, technical support and language access were provided to nonprofit organizations and over 39 DC government agencies with major public contact, reviewing or translating over 300 documents. Agencies include the Department of Employment Services, the Metropolitan Police Department, the Department of Health, the Department of Environment and Energy, and more. In February 23, the Mayor's Office on African Affairs hosted a community conversation on mental health in collaboration with the Department of Behavioral Health and the Mayor's Office of Religious Affairs, fostering open dialogue and reducing the stigma associated with mental illness. In February 2023, MOA held a free tax preparation event in collaboration with the Department of Insurance, Securities, and Banking, and the Mayor's Office of Community Affairs, serving over 50 African residents. In June 23, we hosted vendors workshop to assist new and upcoming vendors with the application and regulation in partnership with the Department of Licensing and Customer Protection. This workshop was conducted in Amharic, French, and Arabic, ensuring the inclusion of all African constituents in the district. MOAA has significantly widened its outreach within the African community through diverse cultural events, hosting the 3rd annual DC Community Soccer Game, Africa Day celebration, Africa on the Avenue Festival, and the Young African Leaders Impact Weekend in collaboration with Howard University and IREX. Consulting collaborations with Serve DC and the Mayor's Office of Clean City for the Mandela Day of Service cleanup to promote public service, environmental program, and connecting DC young African participants with Yali Fellows. For the fiscal year 2024, we will continue to work on building strategic partnership with the district agencies to strengthen our program and promote African resident social integration, civic engagement, and economic development. We look forward to supporting Mayor Bowser's grand vision to keep Washington, D.C. as a city where people from all backgrounds can live happily and thrive. In closing, I would like to thank my team, the Director of Operations, Gilila Getane, our Community Outreach Liaison, Amin Anjay, our Language Access Coordinator, Yared Mengistu, our Grant Management Specialist, Semha Lagos, and our Business Development Specialist, Lombe Kine, for their tireless work and dedication to the African community and the city at large. Thank you for the opportunity to testify today. I look forward to answering any question you may have. Thank you.
Thank you. Give me 1 second, having some technical difficulties. Give me one moment. Thank you, Director. I'm going to start with a few questions. I want to thank you for your leadership. Good to see you the other day, sir. Can you detail your method of data collection regarding constituents' needs?
Can you repeat your question, please, Councilman?
Can you tell me how the agency collects data or information about constituents and their needs?
Right. First, we collect event through our different cultural event we organize. So we do organize several cultural events in the community at the grassroots level to collect information during the event and also share information about the different government services and program available. Another way of collecting data is through grassroots outreach. So we have a team of outreach specialists, one liaison to the Amharic and another one to the French-speaking community. So we conduct bi-weekly outreach in ward where we have a concentration of African immigrants and collect data directly. But the new way for us to collect data is by engaging DC government agencies that provide direct services to African immigrants in the district. So we do that through observation and interviews. So we go to the different agencies and ask them about the challenges they face in providing services to African immigrants. And at the same time, leveraging the language access program, we collect data.
Great, thank you for that. What about anything online? I heard some outreach.
Online, yes, that will be through the newsletter.
Okay.
So we have on our newsletter that reaches 66,000 actually, residents in the district. We have a section where residents can contact me directly
Okay.
and submit an email or message where they ask me about anything or let me know about the different challenges they're facing or African residents in the community are facing. So that's another way for us to stay in touch with the community.
Great, thank you. As you know, during even before and also coming out of the pandemic, we are seeing a number of mental health challenges increase throughout the district. And I know you had a mental health summit, I guess February 2023, with DBH. Can you tell us how effective you think that was, and what some of the things you learned or saw during that time?
Yes. Two things. The first thing is the first thing was an observation. Just we observed that this event allow community members to express themselves, and we create an environment where they can express themselves and candidly let us know the different challenges they're facing when it comes to mental health. We understand that this is not a subject that is easily talked about in the community. So this allows us to, it wasn't too difficult to understand it because in our office, we can directly relate to the community we serve. We are immigrants. Some of us came to this country, another part where their parent came to the country. So in a way or another, we can relate to the different mental health challenges our community members can go to. So this was an opportunity for them to just talk about it with experts and specialists and get more tools to deal with it and know what agency to contact if they have to deal with a mental health issue. The second thing that we learned is that COVID-19 pandemic just pointed the fact that our community members, especially seniors, don't have access to technology for telehealth or telemedicine. So we just, through that event, noted that due to language access issue or lack of access to technology, our community members may face challenges in accessing resources. I think you're muted, Councilman.
Thank you. Appreciate that. How was the collaboration done in partnership with DBH?
Right. Your question is, how did the partnership go?
Yeah, I remember in previous hearings you talked about doing things with other agencies and partners. In this instance, it was DBH who pretty much that's what they do, address mental health services, was enhance the work you are doing. Just want to know how that came about and what was the collaboration.
So it came from a need assessment we conducted in the community on this particular subject. I wanted to do it for community members. Again, as I said, we can directly relate to them. I know that it's as a newcomer in the country, you don't really know where to get information about such things. The first thing you're told when you meet with a lawyer is they will tell you to avoid spending too much time in the car, to avoid police contact. So you get to stay for a long time, staying home by yourself or living with someone, not knowing what tomorrow will be. And that will definitely put you in a situation that can generate mental health issues. So based on that, I decided to do this annually with DBH, the Mayor's Office of African American Affairs, and the Mayor's Office of Returning Citizen. So now, as our role is to connect DC African immigrants with resources available in the district, government resources, we decided to do it with DBH. And now our role is to facilitate the interaction with DBH and monitor delivery of services.
And let me ask you this. I'm gonna skip around a little bit. Thank you for that answer. I think you have 6 people currently employed with you.
Yes.
On the commission, and you have 4 vacancies.
Yes, currently, yes.
What's your process of filling those vacancies?
We currently have potential commissioners that are in the pipeline to join the commission. So first, as we do grassroots outreach, we can identify community leaders that can have a great impact in our commission. But we also send call for commissioners on our newsletter and tap into our top 50 list to encourage people that can serve the community to join the commission.
Got it. And what's your time frame on filling those positions?
So it can happen anytime soon. We currently working with the Mayor's Office of Talent and Appointment to have them as soon as possible.
Got it. In your outreach and engagement, are you finding any barriers or particular issues that's sticking out for our youth?
Not really. Nothing that I can talk about right now.
Okay.
Any issue that have been submitted to our office, we made sure to connect the person with the DC government agency that can support, but nothing really major as of now.
What about educational barriers for those who may have some language barriers or housing barriers? Anything in that area?
Yes. So we we have a grant program first, an African Community Development Grant Program, and one of the priorities is education. So we give up to $15,000 to community-based organizations that serve young African residents in that area. Mary Center is one of them. The Ethiopian Community Center, but also asylum seekers that work directly with newcomers and young asylum seekers. So that's for education, but we also work with DC government agency in that area, just like the OC, but also DCPS, right? We facilitate any interaction with our young Africans in the district. The second question you ask about is education and housing, you say.
Yeah.
Same thing for housing. For housing, we definitely serve as we provide referral services, let's say. So we'll facilitate engagement with the Department of Housing and Community Development, and follow-up is needed, monitor delivery of services.
Got it. I want to acknowledge we also have Councilmember Nita Bonds here. Councilmember Bonds, any questions for this panel, please let me know. I'll get to you in the next round. Well, after I finish. Also, Director, I apologize. I'm moving too fast, trying to square my technology out. I do want to swear you in. I forgot to swear you in. If you can raise your right hand, do you swear or affirm on the penalty of perjury the testimony you're about to give today is the truth?
I do.
All right, thank you. Okay, so maybe it should. Okay, got that. All right, moving right along. What would you say are the 5 most prevalent nationalities amongst your constituents? And as a follow-up to that, do you feel that the city has supported the cultures of these nations in programming and services?
So I will just note the second question. What was the second question, please?
How do you feel like the city is supporting your constituents, not just with your office, but other offices, nonprofit organizations, through addressing some of the needs that you all may see on a regular basis?
Yes. So Africans in DC hail from all over the continent, but the largest portion, or 65%, come from Ethiopia. And the second largest country of origin is Nigeria, followed by Cameroon, Ghana, and Senegal. When it comes to services provided to the different communities, I would say, first, the African Community Grant. One of the eligibility criteria is to provide services to the targeted services, linguistically and culturally targeted services to African immigrants. So we have different grantees that are focused on different communities. The Renaissance Center for Culture and Education focuses on the Francophone African community. Ethiopian Community Center focuses on Ethiopians in the district. The Nigerian Community Center focuses on the Nigerian in the district. I'm saying this, but it's not exclusive. That means if you have an African immigrant from another country, another culture, we'll direct them to those agencies and ensure they're served. We also have the 3.5 million immigrant justice legal services grant, where we provide up to $500,000 to community-based organizations that provide, again, targeted services to our constituent. Same thing, we have the African Community Together that serve Africans overall. We have Nigerian Community Center as a grantee. We also have Nigerian Center that serve, again, Nigerian. I want to emphasize on the fact that those services are not exclusive to communities. We serve all Africans, and if there's a need to provide services, language access or cultural services, we do that.
Thank you. there has been some extensive conversations about DC facing some loss in revenue in the upcoming fiscal cycle. Uh, do you see that affecting programs, and if so, how? Especially the grants.
Um, we've been doing meeting our goal, our different goal with the budget we were given. If the city at large face a reduction of budget, we'll definitely adapt. But as I usually say, always say, the whole government budget is mine, because if we have to fund a program or a community, specific community need a service, we'll definitely ensure we tap into the whole agencies that can provide those services budget. We'll do it with those agencies, but also the Office of Human Rights, as they are the one implementing the Language Access Act of 2004.
Got it. What are some of your goals going into the 2024 fiscal year for the agencies with programming?
Yes, so for FY24, we have, I'll say, two principal goals. The first one is to participate in the city's, participate in stimulating the city's economic development. So participating in the effort of enhancing the economic development of the city. This by supporting African businesses in the district, by offering capacity building training to entrepreneurs or aspiring entrepreneurs in the district. Also providing workforce development training to African residents in the labor force. That will be our first priority. The second one will be public safety. So increasing outreach, our bi-weekly outreach with the African Liaison Unit within the Metropolitan Police Department, increasing outreach just to ensure the public safety of African residents in the district. The third one, the third one will be increasing partnership, increasing key partnership with DC government agencies to serve newcomers in the district, but also increasing partnership with the diplomatic representation, the African diplomatic representation in the district, to widen our network and ensure we reach newcomers in the district.
Thank you. And I know, was that it, Director? I want to cut you off. Was that it?
Excuse me?
Was that it?
Yes.
Okay. And I know Councilmember Bonds wanted to know about public safety. I'm over my time, Council Member. Did you have any questions before I go further?
Thank you very much, Chairperson White. And thank you very much for this, having this opportunity to hear from the director. Like most populations throughout the city, I know that our African sisters and brothers are very concerned about public safety, and I appreciate hearing that there is a need perhaps for a little more outreach from MPD to the African community in general. And so I wanted to ask I believe it's Mr. Kaba. Am I kind of
Yes.
close in enunciation? Okay, Mr. Kaba, if you would give us some sense of where the African community as a whole is as it relates to having strong relationships with the public safety community, particularly MPD, and I think we also should include in that the Department of Behavioral Health, because that's so important in much of what happens in the community.
Sure. So the relationship has been good so far, and we have intentionally created a space where police officers in the district and the community can meet, create relationship that can later on ensure public safety. The first thing is bi-weekly public safety outreach with the African Liaison Unit within NPD. I talked about it. So we conduct that across all the 8 wards with a main focus on areas with a concentration of African immigrants, which is Ward 1, 4, and 5. But we also organize an annual DC soccer tournament with the Metropolitan Police Department and all the agencies in the ecosystem, again, to ensure that we consolidate the relationship between police officer and community members, and also share with residents services available to them throughout the district, such as the mayor's camera rebate program. So, so I will say this is the 3rd year or the 4th that we doing that. So the relationship have been good and allowed us to prevent many situations in our communities.
And so in this good relationship that you have, do we have officers that speak some of the languages? I was thinking Wolof and other languages that many on the continent speak. Just wondering if, or is there a need for a little more language?
So the African Liaison Unit within MPD is constituted by African residents, so African immigrants that are bilingual. So we have folks from Sierra Leone, Cote d'Ivoire, and Cameroon currently, and Ethiopia. We are the first Ethiopian officers that joined the unit not too long ago. So those are bilingual police officers originally from Africa.
All right. And if you could, I just would like to get a sense of where you see what we do in the city to help individuals, our residents, to get jobs. How does that affect your community? Are we doing a good job, fair job, or it's just not getting to where people need to be?
So what we do at the Mayor's Office on African Affairs is to ensure that we leverage all the resources available throughout the city. The first one being the Language Access Act of 2004 that require DC government agencies to hire bilingual staff. So we do organize workforce development training, which we facilitate with the Department of Employment Services and DCHR, and then participate in job fairs, bilingual job fair, to promote hiring of bilingual staff that can eventually serve our constituents in need. So our goal is to use the economic opportunity available within the African community, which is that over 50% of African immigrants in the district have at least a master's degree. I think over 45% have a master's degree, and a large portion have at least a bachelor degree. But another reality is that African immigrants that come into the district are really have a love for entrepreneurship and innovation. So that also represents an opportunity in the African community to participate in the city's effort for economic development. So we ensure that we partner with agencies to do workforce development training for African immigrants in the labor force and capacity building training for businesses and aspiring business owners. For if language barrier, I mean, we also understand that they may face language barriers. So we fund institutions like the Washington English Center to provide ESL classes or English classes at different levels for people that may need it to get ahead economically and socially in the city.
So do you keep data on the workforce processes that you're engaged in that could tell us whether or not, let's say, if 100 individuals with a master's degree applied for work, would you have data to show how many received or what percentage received work, and was it in 90 days or a year or week? That kind of information I think would be very helpful to have an understanding of how we're doing as a city in this arena. My committee is very concerned with employment and making sure that we change that number that was recently published by DOES that indicated there's 1.9 jobs for every one applicant and for every one DC resident, I'm sorry, in the city. And that's 2 jobs for everyone. So that means that everyone should be working if they want to. So we're trying to get closer to that number.
No, well understood. So we'll definitely work with DOES and DCHR to ensure we collect that.
All right, okay. And on the education piece, I've just wondered if there are any barriers or concerns that you have about the public education that we're providing in the city, and or maybe talk a little bit about how it does affect your population.
The main barrier I would say will be when it comes to education, language barrier first for the young folks that come into the district. But again, we work with community-based organizations that provide after-school programs like the Ethiopian Community Center and the Renaissance Center for Culture and Education that work with the Francophone African residents. For the other young Africans in the system already, DCPS or OC reach out to us if needs are to facilitate any obtention of service available. But there is I haven't faced no major concern when it comes to education related to our community members. The only barrier I see here right now as I'm talking is the language barrier.
All right. Well, thank you. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you. Thank you, Director. We're going to shift to, I know we have a public witness that did not get a chance to speak, so we'll jump to Mr. Farad Tate. Is Brother Tate still here? Also, Kevin Thomas. Could you elevate Kevin Thomas as well? Okay. I'm not sure if Mr. Tate is still here. Um, Mr. Tate, are you ready now, or would you like for me to go to Mr. Thomas first?
Yes. Okay, you want me to go now?
It's up to you, man.
Yeah,
I want
yes, good. Thank you, council member. And I want to thank both your council members for giving me this opportunity. For over years now, we have had the pleasure of working directly with the Office of African Affairs. And in that relationship, we have been able to bridge the communities together, really focusing on the business community, which literally filters into our resident communities. Our business communities, our African business communities, are often the ones who are working night and day, just like we did when we first started. And a lot of times they're not accessing the services that they need to sustain and to grow their business. But because of the Office of African Affairs, they're able to link those businesses not only to government agencies, but to a ward or to a broader community that will allow them to literally provide their Ethiopian food or their West African food. This also allows opportunity for us to have cultural understanding amongst each other through the dining in these experienced restaurants, the Ethiopian restaurants, as well as our West African restaurants. So I really want to take my hat off and I commend the hard work that this office is doing to also make sure that the businesses have the technical support they need to not only open with a proper license, but to be able to sustain their operations so that they are in compliance with DC requirements to do business. So again, thank you, council member, for this opportunity to testify. And I do want to go on the record and say we continue at DMV Black Restaurant Week and Inspire. We continue the efforts of working to make sure that our African community has the same opportunities as our African American community does. Thank you all so much. Didn't hear you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you speaking to that. It's important to see the work being done and what you're doing with the business community and just even in entrepreneurship and training in the district. Thank you.
Thank you, council member. Have a great one.
You too. Mr. Thomas.
All right. Good afternoon, Councilmember White. Thank you for having me and allowing me to testify. So I am Kevin Thomas, Chairman of the Commission on Fathers, Men, and Boys. And I'm here today to discuss the commission just a little bit and to talk about some of the asks that I, as chairman, have in order to ensure that the commission is able to really fulfill its potential in its purpose. So briefly, some of the goals that the commission is charged with achieving are researching, reviewing, and disseminating empirical data, statistics, and facts that apply to fathers, men, and boys here in the district, promoting dialogue of responsible fatherhood and spurring community initiatives to combat fatherlessness, preparing and recommending programs and services annually to the mayor and the council related to fathers, men, and boys, working with district agencies and the private sector, community nonprofits, and other members of the community to promote healthier societal impact for fathers, men, and boys, and also nominating special advisors to serve as technical experts and give advice on specific matters related to fathers, men, and boys. We've been able to accomplish a pretty good amount of these goals. However, there are some areas that we have not been able to really achieve the type of things we want to achieve. And they were because of a lack of resources, including a lack of a dedicated staff. I want to shout out the Office of African American Affairs and their staff for all of the work that they've done with our commission, the support that they've given us. However, I think it would benefit the commission to be able to have dedicated staff that have a central focus on the commission and providing the support that we need in order for us to be able to fulfill the duties that we've been charged with. Our public meetings, though we've had participation, it can be very difficult at times to get the community to come out because of a lack of a budget in order for us to be able to market. And as I don't need to tell any member of government, if you want to get your initiatives out into the community and events and get people to come, it does take funds in order to achieve that. And I think that because of the fact that the commission does not have an actual budget for us to fulfill some of these duties that we have been charged with, it makes it very difficult, and it forces us to kind of have to be creative, which can be fine, but we have to be realistic about it and understand that we require certain resources in order for us to be able to do our jobs. Some of the things that some of the events that we've held within the last year are the Father's Rights Workshop, the Father's Day event at the Wharf in partnership with Pepsi, the Commanders, and other organizations and businesses. And some of the other challenges that we've had is support with events that we want to hold. We don't have the autonomy to put on events by ourselves because it does require approval. And it also requires having staff from the Office of African American Affairs in attendance. And so some of the opportunities over the last year that came our way to do some partnerships and different events, it fell through because we didn't have the dedicated staff that we need. So that has also put a hit on the morale of the board because we have a lot of things we want to do, but unfortunately, we're not able to accomplish them. So our ask of the council going forward is to provide us with a budget to be able to utilize funds to achieve our goals, be assigned a dedicated staff, and also some assistance with just getting the word out if that is a possibility, because we really think the community will be excited to help us in this initiative, and fathers, men, and boys are extremely important, but they can't help out with these initiatives and support this commission if they're not aware of the fact that a commission exists. So I thank you all for your opportunity to testify.
Thank you for that. And that's great insight. And I do agree that it costs money to do ministry. I guess my question will be, are you in communication with the mayor's office at all? Because as you know, the head of commissions, agencies send budget requests to the mayor, and she sends the budget over to the council, in which we edit the budget. But normally, these commissions, agency directors send requests to the mayor before it gets to us. Mm-hmm. And I just want to know, have you met with the mayor? Have you had any conversations with any of her city administrator? If you could speak to that.
Sure. So I haven't had a direct conversation with the mayor. I've been in constant contact with, of course, the Office of African American Affairs, which oversees our commission. And so that consistent communication has been there throughout. So definitely kudos, no issues in that regard. But basically what I've been told is that, of course, you have some commissions that have a budget and you have many other ones that just don't have it. Right. And so this is why it was important for me to be here to speak to this, because we've tried to make things work under the current circumstances of not having a budget. But unfortunately, a lot of the work that we want to do is going to require either partnership with community organizations and agencies that have the funds, which of course that becomes a very dicey situation in terms of legal, or having the capacity from the government to fund us.
How much funding do you feel the commission needs to work effectively?
Well, I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm an expert in terms of like budgeting specifically for the commission. I can throw a number out there and you tell me whether that is something that you feel is at minimum of like realistic. I would say at least maybe 30 or 40,000 if that's not too much. I know a lot of marketing campaigns specifically cost a ton of money, whether it's wrapping buses or putting signage up at metro stops or sending out mailers. It is not cheap. And so at this point, I would be definitely happy to have a conversation with you and any other council member just to kind of figure out, what those numbers can look like. Because at this point, anything would help.
Thank you. I do know historically, there used to be an award ceremony that happened every year for fathers. In fact,
Mhm.
we hosted here in Ward 8 in Congress Heights a few years ago. I don't know how that was funded, but they used to do it every year in the ward. Let me ask you this. How is your relationship with schools? Are you doing anything directly with boys in schools at all?
So we've participated in some of like the welcome back events to welcome the students back. I did connect with Statesman Academy. I need to follow up with their president. We didn't lose contact, but we need to follow up with each other. So that's definitely something that I'm looking to strengthen because I believe that if we can get into schools, which was like my number one priority, then that's marketing right there, and that kind of helps to start the conversation and allow people to understand that there is a commission that is geared towards the work that needs to be done with our population.
All right. Which of your events would you say garnered the most engagement?
Um, Probably the Father's Rights Workshop, which we had, I want to say early, I think it was not last year, but the year before, in which we had a couple fathers that also were recently incarcerated. And the feedback on that was phenomenal. We did that in partnership with an office of lawyers that were trying to work with us to kind of figure out different ways to approach some of the systemic issues related to recently incarcerated individuals, and especially around fathers' rights. And so that probably was, I would say, the most well-attended event. A lot of the other events that we wanted to have, like in our own capacity, absent the one at the wharf that they have for Father's Day, we just couldn't have it for a number of reasons, whether it was just canceled, or if we just didn't have the funds to do it in the manpower.
Got it. DC is a unique space where we've had some growing issues with crime and public safety. Um, and most of this involves African American men and boys. In fact, I oversee DYRS as part of my role here, and I've had a number of visits with the agency, meeting with the youth, hearing from the director and the staff. What do you see the commission's role or in public safety, or what are you hearing from the commission through father, men, and boys about public safety in the district?
Sure. So one of my foremost priorities was to have the commission be a force to be reckoned with, not in the sense of, trying to be a troublemaker necessarily, but just to have us have our hands on these issues, be thoughtful in our approach, understand the issues that are out there, and not just at the surface level. I'm a social worker by trade. And so my training says, hey, this problem exists, but let's look at the things under the surface that are causing these issues. So crime, all of those things, being in poverty and not having anything to eat and all of these things that we think of as being simple that lead to the crime that we're seeing. And so I want the commission to have the resources that we need in order for us to be a part of that discussion, to be a resource for the community, and to be a resource for the elected officials, because I mean, that's honestly what our job is supposed to be, is to advise you guys on how to make policy that does right by the citizens. So
Yep, I don't know what you're doing next Monday at 1 o'clock, but I will be in Kramer Middle School. And this is pretty much every Monday. You're welcome to join us.
thank you.
Engaging students there around several different topics. But what I'm hearing and seeing is not new for me, but it's escalating the number of concerns and those concerns getting younger and younger. Imagine this middle school. Um, I've been doing this for 3 years. We've lost two of the guys in our middle school mentoring to homicide, and several have been shot already. We talk about all of them under the age of 14. So if you, I'm not preoccupied or busy, you're welcome to come past. That's next Monday.
Thank
At
you.
1 p.m. at Kramer Middle School. Yep. Let me ask you this: how many people serve with you on the commission at the moment?
We have roughly 7 or 8. We're trying to get the number up, but of course, you got to go through the whole process.
Yep.
But it's, again, the morale thing has been an issue because it's one thing to have a heart for service, but as you know, that I've followed your activism on the council and then just in general. If you don't have the resources, or if you feel like, no matter how many doors you knock on, it just doesn't seem like anyone wants to provide you with the assistance you need to make a change,
Yep.
it can really take a hit on you. And eventually, you find yourself in a dark space and you have to keep motivating yourself. And so, all the individuals we have on our commission are about service and about making change, but it's really tough as a chair to keep that motivation up and to garner their support in the overall mission of our commission when we don't feel like we have what we need to really live up to what we're supposed to be doing.
Got it. I want to be helpful in any way I can. This is a lane of mine in which I'm heavily involved in so many different levels. And so if I can be of help to that, please reach out to me directly. That's all I have for today. I didn't know if Councilmember Barnes is still here. Nope, she's gone. But thank you for your testimony.
Absolutely. Thank you. We'll be in contact. Thanks again.
Thank you. All right, we're going to shift the hearing to the mayor's office on African American affairs. And the mayor's office on Father, Men, and Boys just spoke with. If we can elevate the director here, I don't see any public witnesses. Director Reverend Thomas Bowen is back with us again. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, council member.
All right, welcome back. It's the practice of this office to swear in all government witnesses. You start by raising your right hand. Do you swear or affirm on the penalty of perjury the testimony you're giving today is the truth?
Yes.
All right, thank you. If you have an opening statement, you can go right ahead.
Well, thank you, Councilmember White, and members of the Committee on Recreation, Libraries, and Youth Affairs, and staff and the residents of the District of Columbia. My name, as has been stated, is Reverend Thomas Bowen. I'm the Director of African American Strategic Engagement and Executive Office of Mayor Emilio Bowser. In this role, I manage 2 offices and 3 commissions: the Mayor's Office on African American Affairs, the Mayor's Office of Religious Affairs, the Commission on Father, Men, and Boys, the Commission on African American Affairs, and the Mayor's Interfaith Council. I want to thank Mayor Bowser for placing this trust in me. It is an honor to lead the Mayor's African American Community Engagement. Today, I'll discuss the accomplishments and activities of the Mayor's Office on African American Affairs and the Commission on Father, Men, and Boys during fiscal year 2023. Allow me to offer a brief overview of the Office on African American Affairs fiscal year 2023 performance. However, it is important to note that daily, my wonderful team, along with government and community partners, diligently strives to ensure the city's prosperity is inclusive. We are committed to connecting vulnerable community members with necessary tools for full participation and success. During FY 2023, my office enhances outreach, community involvement, visibility, and citywide services. The focus remained on addressing economic inequities, health disparities, and promoting educational advancement for African Americans. MOA has successfully assisted over 1,100 individuals interested in Black home ownership in DC. Additionally, the organization continues to host 4 annual signature events supporting DC's Black businesses, Black home ownership, Black burial grounds, and Black history. MOA continued providing financial literacy, resources, and information through the Financially Fit DC workshop series on Black generational wealth building. MOA has engaged more than 800 residents providing information on home ownership, investing, financial literacy, personal finance, and information on how to build wealth. Our collaboration and backing of Black Restaurant Week has proven highly successful, similar to the evolution of Black history celebrations from a week to a month and now a year. Our year-round partnership with the founders of Black Restaurant Week in DC reflects our ongoing commitment to promoting Black-owned restaurants. I'm pleased to mention that we take pride in our collaboration with the National Museum of African American History and Culture to present District Day. This special day allowed DC residents to visit the museum without the usual procedures. FY23 was the 5th year of MOA's African American Community Grant Program. MOA awarded $200,091 in grant funding to 21 community-based organizations providing direct services to Washington, D.C.'s African American community. The African American Community Grant provided residents dance and cultural arts enrichment for youth, entrepreneurship training and mentorship for high schools, college readiness and academic mentoring for students applying for college, food access and health resources for residents in Ward 7 and Ward 8, physical fitness and educational mentoring for youth, academic mentoring and civic engagement for Ward 8 students, an artist and residency program, cultural arts and food access for Ward 7 residents, and resources and technical assistance for African American businesses. The funding areas were education, jobs and economic development, public safety, civic engagement, health and wellness, youth engagement, and arts and creative economy. The grantees for FY 2023 were the Breast Care for Washington, which provided services regardless of insurance status or the ability to pay for 3D mammograms, breast ultrasound, needle biopsies, and have a mobile mammogram van that travels the DC metropolitan area located east of Anacostia in Ward 8. College Bound, which exposes students to college-educated professionals, provide an immense perspective on the college preparatory process and college completion through a one-on-one mentoring model. The goal of the program is to expose students to a wide array of professionals, colleges, and opportunities for life beyond high school. College Tribe, which provides holistic support for young boys living in low-income communities, helping them to overcome obstacles and develop cognitive skills, confidence, and resilience to put them on the path to success, preparing boys in grades 3 through 8 for fuller engagement in school and in life. The DC Affordable Law Firm, which provides high-quality, affordable, and accessible legal services to DC residents and unmet legal needs who do not qualify for free legal aid and are unable to pay prevailing legal rates. DC Greens, which advances health equity by building a just and resilient food system in our nation's capital. DC Green envisions a city where health equity is a central value. Healthy food is a human right and allots residents the ability to shape the policies and programs that affect their communities. The DC Strings Workshop, which provides music education to youth and fund community programs during 2022 through 2023 school year. The DC Theater Arts Collaborative at Anacostia Playhouse, which offers an educational programs and hosts a number of community events year-round, enriches the lives of more than 13,000 residents and attracting visitors from across the region. The Foster and Adopted Parent Advocacy Center, which significantly improves the lives of the children, serving approximately 1,500 individuals each year here in the district and surrounding areas. The Friends of the National Arboretum, which significantly improves the lives of the children, serving approximately 1,500 individuals each year through the District of Columbia. The GAP Community Child Development Center, which stands for Growing, Advancing, Preparing, seeks to motivate, stimulate, and challenge our children in a safe environment, ensuring that learning is fun, exploring is exciting, and developing new concepts is an adventure. The Healthy Baby Projects, which equips the poorest district youth to develop life skills, build strong families, and become self-sufficient. The Intentional Pursuit of Me, which emerged from the visionary need to combat the increasing rates of depression linked to social media consumption, exacerbated by poverty, and how it affects youth today. It was founded as a grassroots initiative successfully providing youth development activities here in the district. The Living Classroom in the National Capital Region, which provides residents with the Anacostia Riviera access to the best in-class facilities, programs, and partnerships in arts and culture, economic opportunity, education, recreation, health, and well-being. Planned Parenthood of Washington, which is an evidence-based HIV prevention intervention for African American women ages 10 through 18. The Community Enrichment Project, which provides youth programs and services that are designed to empower them to become young leaders. HEART aims to connect creative arts to civic engagement and create young local leaders that will serve as community leaders. The Dance Institute of Washington, which increases inclusivity and diverse representation at every level of professional, classical, concert dance, and other dance industries, and through the exemplary effort impacts racial and economic equity in dance nationally and globally. The Difference Society, which focuses on training youth and young adults to become financially literate and independent by providing education, training, and mentorship in entrepreneurship and financial literacy. The Green Scheme, or Code Green, which provides leadership, education, training, and awareness on a wide variety of environmental topics, from healthy living to green career pathways through their engagement of youth. The Hope Foundation Reentry Network, which provides intensive hands-on community, transitional, and workforce development services. The Washington Improv Theater Company, which aims to unleash the creativity of everyday Washingtonians through accessible classes and groundbreaking audience-responsive performances. And finally, the Young Men's Christian Association of Metropolitan Washington, which aims to foster the spiritual, mental, and physical development of individuals, families, and communities according to the ideals of inclusiveness, equality, and mutual respect for all. MOA continues to work with partnering agencies to create impactful programs that connect residents to a fair shot and a recovery focused on health, equity, opportunity, and prosperity. Allow me, if you will, to spend a couple minutes talking about the FY23 activities of the Commission on Fathers, Men, and Boys. As I mentioned earlier, it is staffed by MOA. The Commission on Father, Men, and Boys was established in 2014 by Council for the purpose of addressing fatherlessness and disparities in education and economic opportunity, health and well-being, public safety that adversely impacts father, men, and boys here in the district. Furthermore, the Commission and the public on issues and needs. It advises the mayor, the council, and the public on issues and needs of father, men, and boys here in the district. It's a 12-member body that represents multiple generations of DC residents who are community activists, executive directors, entrepreneurs, university professors, and judicial scholars. We have purposely redesigned the commission, ensuring that it mirrors the district's demographics. And we are just so honored that we now have 2 youth serving on the commission. Collaborating with numerous organizations and departments, the commission has actively contributed to enhancing the well-being of father, men, and boys. One example of this, as has been mentioned, is our participation in the beginning of the school year rituals at DC area schools. I am enthusiastic about the commission's forthcoming endeavors, including a quarterly engagement meetings and the ongoing recommendations for policies and programs. For 2 consecutive years, we celebrated the Father's Day at the Wharf in collaboration with the Washington Commanders, offering a family-friendly event. We eagerly anticipate hosting it again this year. Mr. Chairman, this concludes my testimony. I thank you for the opportunity to testify today. I look forward to answering any questions from the committee.
Thank you, Director Bowen, for your leadership, and I'm encouraged to hear some of the great work you guys are doing there, and even some of the work of the grantees that's touching a number of individuals throughout the city. I do want to say that I am becoming more concerned as relates to African Americans in the District of Columbia. As you know, according to the census data, that we lost over 20,000 African Americans in DC in the last decade. And that's just documented residents. There are a lot of, what we call couch surfers who are not documented, that's living on in grandma's house on the couch, that's not included, right? And when I look at the health disparities, most of it affect African Americans in the city. When I look at the housing disparities, most of affecting African Americans in the city. When I look at the incarceration rates, most are affected by African Americans in the city. When I go to DC jail on Fridays or New Beginnings, mostly African Americans in our city. And so we have a mighty work at hand, just trying to use government as a tool to help build bridges, close the economic wealth divides, and then create a pipeline to equitable services in the district. And I think that what you are attempting to do with these partners and your agency is with the commission is a noble task, but a heavy task at that. And I did, I was concerned, and just recently, and I talked about this the other day, that I was with two senior citizens or seasoned citizens during the pandemic, and they were in my car. I was driving them around, and one of them explained to me that she was getting $34 a month in TANF, and the other one was getting $32 a month in TANF and food and SNAP benefits SNAP benefits through food stamps. And I'm thinking to myself, Jesus, how's anyone? That's a dollar and some change a day, right? And both of them were on fixed income, and they didn't even know each other. I picked both of them up separately. They all end up in the car together, just talking. And I was just like, man, we have to do more as a city to ensure that our seniors are taken care of, because there are a lot of Black grandmas and aunties and grandfathers in the city that are in a city that's growing economically as far as the price of living, but people's income, there's an 81% wealth gap between Black and white counterparts in the city. And so we want to partner with you to ensure that we can close those gaps. In fact, we got another round of our Ward 8 SIF, Community Investment Fund, and it's just for Ward 8 or businesses that's working in Ward 8 or nonprofits working in Ward 8. But we want to make sure citywide we are doing more than enough to close the achievement gaps in schools. And I'm concerned. I went to a youth forum, two, one Sunday and one, I believe, Wednesday. Don't quote me on that, but one was at the Thurgood Marshall Center on 12th Street Northwest. You know what I'm talking about. And when I was in a room with some phenomenal young people. In fact, some of the council colleagues joined me, and just to hear and these, it was a lot of diversity in the room when it comes to the students, and they were high achievers. They were ranging from all schools throughout the district. But when I heard the cry and heartbeat of these young people just about them going back and forth to school and not feeling safe, and also feeling like they was not getting enough educationally to challenge them and help them to get across to the next level, I become concerned, because if we're not pouring everything into our kids, then what are we doing? And I just took a moment just to share that, Director. This because we talk about African Americans in the city, and we both are African Americans, and I'm just concerned about that population. And I want to jump right to the questions real quick, Director. If you may allow, and I did want to note that we had Brother Farad Tate, who wanted to admonish some of the work you guys are doing and helping him to do. I think he was trying to get back in, but I'm not sure if that's going to happen for the sake of time. but I didn't want to let you know that and your staff know that, brother, for our tapes trying to get back in. And to my understanding, Director, you have 21 grantees. Is that correct?
Yes.
How does one get access to applying for grants with this commission?
Well, it all begins with our pre-bidders conference. We let individuals perhaps who are not familiar with the process, we gather together to answer any questions that they may have. For example, it was last July towards the end that we had a pre-bidders conference at the MLK library. Shortly after that, perhaps a couple weeks, the grants were open and people began to apply. And then once the the call for proposals ends, then there is an independent committee that we had already met with even before the pre-bidders conference, or who have applied to be some of these grant reviewers. Then they score the grants. And then we make our announcements after the tallying of the score. But the way people hear about it is sometimes that they interact with the organization who had been a recipient, and they tell them you ought to apply. I'm oftentimes reminding people or getting them to apply, realizing that we can't fund everybody, but we think that it benefits us if we get the best applications possible to reach the largest number of those in need in our district. And we've been able to do that. And there have been some who can testify to that. But another way is that information goes not only in our newsletter, but in the mayor's newsletter. But we constantly tell individuals about it. In addition to having a pre-bidders conference downtown, we also had one east of the river.
Do you have any new grantees that's been awarded in this cycle that wasn't awarded in the last cycle?
Yes, that's often the case. Yes, I don't have the comparison of who and who was it, but we can definitely get that information to you. But that is the case each and every year.
How do you collect feedback and data from constituents and or grantees?
Well, we have someone in our office who's dedicated to working with our grantees. We have site visits. And then those site visits, we get a hands-on. They're also required to give quarterly reports. Going back, we have 8 grantees that are repeat grantees for this coming fiscal year.
Okay, got it. So and correct me if I'm wrong. You said that out of the 21, 8 repeat and the other ones are new. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And we talked about getting feedback from them through these evaluations.
Yeah, it's submit quarterly reports, council member.
Okay, and those the grantees, correct?
Yes.
Okay. What about constituents?
Well, that's a difficult one to answer. I guess it would just be that every now and then there are people, this is what happens, there are people who are in need, because a part of our charge is also to help those with their capacity building. And we run across persons and we'll let them know, hey, you ought to apply for our African American community grant. But as always is the case, it's about getting the information out there, realizing once again that we can only supply a limited number. And there are other offices within community affairs that also offer grants.
We just heard some brief remarks about the Commissioner on Father, Men, and Boys from Mr. Thomas. How are you working with him and other commissioners to ensure high-level effective programming?
Yeah, and I would say that Commissioner Thomas, our chair, has been wonderful for the commission. He's always present. He did this even while trying to finish up his degree at Howard over the spring.
Excellent.
An active father, so he's a role model for each and every one. We have been open access to all our commissioners. We engage with them. But you know, it has been 3 months since I've talked to most of the commission members, but we're back now on the job. But we constantly engage on ways to do, and I understand that there are a lot of folk who point to the need or who like to do have more funding. But if you listen to the grants that we issue, you see that a lot of those involve boys. A lot of those involve men and fathers. So some of that, I think that gap is taken up by the fact that we're actively engaged with some of those organizations. And what we ought to do more is make sure that the commission is also interacting with those organizations, the African American Affairs Award Community grants too. But I'm a big believer in collaboration. That if you're talking about incarceration and returning citizens, then we're going to partner with our sister agency, the Office of Returning Citizens. If you're talking about the health needs, we're going to link on with DC Health. If we're talking about mental health, which all of us should be talking about mental health as pertains to young men, then we should be partnering with DBH. In terms of our older residents, DACO is a tremendous resource, and we interact with DACO, and they're doing a marvelous work. We just had a snowstorm. Before I shovel my steps, I look to my neighbors who are up in age, because it's all our responsibility as well. But there's so many things, and this is our responsibility as an office, to make sure that our residents know of all the investments the mayor has done that benefits them. That's our responsibility. In many cases, there are people come to me wanting to do something only to realize and be told that there is support already for what they want to do. So I look forward to sitting down with our chair and talking about ways that we can perhaps plan better too. I think that if we plan, then we can submit and include a request within our MOCA offices. But that is going to be a needed thing, that we have some planning that takes place so we can make sure that we can bring some of these thoughts and ideas to fruition.
Got it. And I appreciate you sharing that. I've been in a number of conversations in the last couple of days with Black mothers who are looking for supports and help for their Black boys. And even I was on the phone with a coach today, and he was explaining to me that he has 25 kids in his recreation center. And out of that 25, he only got 12 slots for the basketball team. So he said all these kids have been playing all this year. First, it's been hard for him to get documentation to get them into the system. And second, by the time they get it, only got 12 slots. They got to do something with these other 23 kids that he's now learning that can't participate. All right. And that made me furious. Right. That we got kids engaged with responsible adults during a time when we know where they are. They're in our facilities doing great things, and we're not doing everything we can to help them. And so this is often some of my concern. I'm not sure if you're hearing that or things like that, as far as like outlets and positive things to do with our boys.
Yes. And so I want to point out that we also have two women who are members of the Commission on Father Men and Boys, and they bring in a knowledge base that we could not do without. I think that it's important that people know that MOCA offices, the Mayor's Office, Community Relations Services exist for that reason. For the last 48 hours, I was helping a young man who was about to experience homelessness during his senior year, and linking arms with our MOCAs and linking arms with our Health and Human Services. He has housing right now. And so I'm of the belief that anyone that we come in contact with, we can help. The rub becomes, how do we get more people to understand that there are resources, there are investments that the mayor has made, and the mayor has dedicated staff to help any individual that comes to our attention.
Got it. And I asked the chairman for Commission on Father Men and Boys about working with some of the schools. And that was a key part of some of the work that was being done before. And I don't know if you're able to speak to that or not. Do you know if that's something you are doing in partnership with some of the providers or grantees?
Yeah, I think that that becomes a possibility once again. As I had stated a few minutes ago, I think there is that need to connect the commission with some of the work of the grantees, particularly for FY24. That is something that is on the front of our radar. I can't speak to the partnerships before, but I know that we have access via the DC Public Schools for partnerships there. And there have been more than just statesmen that we've interacted with, but that's something that we're looking to do more of. You mentioned Craning. I'm going to see if my schedule would allow me to be there with you on Monday. But those are the type of partnerships and collaborations, not only within government, but with people like yourself, council member.
Got it. Let me ask you this: what are you saying when it comes to? We're getting a lot of negative feedback about African American home ownership. I know the mayor touted that probably for the last 2 years, put more money in the budget to close the wealth gap by allowing people to get more ownership. And not saying this falls on you, because you're not the mayor herself. But I'm not sure if you're hearing this. Have you been working with any government agencies, with housing finance agency? Because we have a lot of people who are in jeopardy of not only um, losing money, right, but being homeless because they already have been prepared to move into the house, but the funding is not there. And we are concerned, and we're hearing it. I just know, have you been hearing it? Have you spoke to anyone in reference to that?
Oh, well, one thing I forgot to mention and bring to your attention, council members, I don't know that my office is now in your ward. We're on Shannon Place. We moved the Office of African
Oh,
American Affairs to, yeah,
2235.
that's it. Come see me.
We're in the same building. I'm downstairs. I have an
All
office
right,
on the
I see
floor.
it. When I sneak on up to the third floor. And we're excited to be closer to some of the individuals that we need to be paying more attention to. Um, as it relates to housing, one of my other hats, we'll continue to try to get houses of worship to participate and to build more affordable housing. Masjid Muhammad is under construction right now to build more affordable housing. Metropolitan AME Church is building more affordable housing. I think just for the veterans there. So we are trying to enlist in Ward 7 and Ward 8 more congregations to think about using their property to build affordable housing. I think it's important also that we reach young people early, that we talk to them about education, about employment, about the benefits of a good government job that some of our parents and grandparents knew about. And it's also that point in time. It's almost what they say, that the time to interact with returning citizens is at the time of incarceration. Young people, when they come out of our schools, we need to talk to them about financial literacy. We need to talk to them about loan payment, because no one's going to come around each and every time to give loans. But we need to talk about how they can use their money and become better than I or others were in terms of getting into home ownership early. And the mayor is fond of letting and reminding us that there are places in DC that we ought to consider and to look at. But I think that once again, if we can get them to our door, if they can interact with us, then we can tell them about the resources. I'm really optimistic when I see the number of young people, the young African Americans who are becoming home owners. We have to continue to have them reach out, and I think they influence people, of their generation. But we will continue to try to meet the mayor's goals around affordable housing. We continue to preach the sermon about home ownership to our young people. This does not mean we rule out older folk, because if someone is 70 buying their first home, that's a success and that's a win right there. So we just have to make sure that we can interact with more people as much as possible.
Yeah, and I appreciate that, because we have some of the highest interest rates that we've seen in the last 2 years, that we've seen in 3 decades. And that's concerning. And it affects the ability for African Americans, for those who may be first time home buyers, to get in the market, to build wealth. And some of them have gone through the process of getting their credit together, save some money, going through the programs that we offer, only to be stalemated at the end and going to closing. So I did want to ask you, I believe you have 11 vacancies in their commission. Can you speak to what are we doing to fill those?
I wanted to verify that number, and that is correct. I also want to go back and let you know that one of the grantees this cycle is dealing with home ownership, and that's a
Okay.
win. That's a win. I'm glad that we were able to fund them. We are currently looking for individuals to join the commission. We're out in the community and we see people who have an idea and concern. We try to point them to joining the commission, but it's a process, and a part of that process is getting them to follow through with applying. And that has been slow at times. And how you get sometimes to vacancies is not because you have not filled, but people's life circumstances change. A person may get a job that makes them ineligible for the commission, or they may move, away outside of the city. But we are actively reaching out to folk at community events. We have an open house coming up at Shannon Place on the 31st, I believe 3 o'clock to 5 or 3 to 6. We'll be asking and looking for people to come out to that as well. And we would tell them about how they can serve. And it's not just our commission. I tell people about other commissions and boards because our city needs residents who are actively involved as part of civic engagement.
Got it. So the vacancies, what's the plan to fill the vacancies? I don't know if I missed that.
Yes, we have some, like I said, who have applied, and so we're following up with the folk who said they're interested, to make sure that they get all the documents, there. But I'm quite confident that by the end of February, we will have more than the vacancies, and we will be on target to fill all our empty seats right now.
Got it. I want to thank you, Director, for your diligence. We look forward to following up, and if I'm able to see you Monday, great. We want to be impactful.
Yes, and Councilman, I just want to thank you personally. One thing's for sure: no one can judge or critique or question your heart. You have a heart for the people, and I appreciate that. And I just hope that my heart can grow as big as yours.
Thank you.
Thank
appreciate you. All right, we're going to move on to the mayor's office on Asian and Pacific Islander affairs. Let me see. I don't see any public witnesses, so we'll have Director Ben de Guzman here. And this is the mayor's office on Asian and Pacific Islander affairs. Director Ben de Guzman. I can see you, but I can't hear you.
Can you hear me, Councilman?
Yep, I can hear you now.
Great. Sorry about that. I was on mute before while my colleagues were testifying.
Okay. Yeah, if you can start by raising your right hand, is the practice of this office of swearing all government officials. Do you swear or affirm under the penalty of perjury the testimony you're giving today is the truth?
I do.
All right, great. If you have an opening testimony, you can go right ahead.
Great, thank you. Good afternoon, Chairman White, members of the Committee on Library, Recreation, and Youth Affairs, and staff. My name is Ben de Guzman, and I'm the Executive Director of the Mayor's Office on Asian and Pacific Islander Affairs, also known as MOAPIA. I'm pleased to testify before you today to provide an overview of MOAPIA's performance for the fiscal year 2023 and 2024 to date. The mission of MOAPIA is to improve the quality of life for Asian American and Pacific Islander, or AAPI, residents of the District of Columbia through advocacy and engagement. For over 30 years, we've played the twofold role of, one, representing Mayor Muriel Bowser to the AAPI communities, providing information about city government resources, and two, advocating for the AAPI community in city government to ensure that all residents have equitable access to public agencies and their services, regardless of their race, ethnicity, national origin, or immigration status. To accomplish our mission, MOAPIA provides three core services. One, assist all district APIs in accessing services from district agencies and advocate for the issues affecting their quality of life, regardless of where in the API community they come from. Two, assist district agencies with building their capacity to provide culturally and linguistically competent services to district APIs. And three, continue to provide the API community with access to grant funding to support their unique needs, whether in the community or in the district's business sector. According to the latest statistics, the API population grew to 37,974 residents, or about 5.4% of the entire district population. This was about a 60% increase from the year 2000. We're most concentrated in wards 2 and 3, although our population is increasing in other wards as well. Along with the population increase, the number of Asian-owned businesses has also been growing rapidly. For example, a 2012 survey of business owners from the Census Bureau reports that there are a total of 3,974 Asian-owned businesses in the district, together producing $2.1 billion in revenue. This is a 15.4% increase in the number of businesses and a 16% increase in revenue compared to 2007. The most recent data also indicate that 2% of the district population overall speaks Asian and Pacific Islander languages at home, and 23% of the Asian American households in the district have limited English proficiency. But nationally, it's recognized that the API community is among the fastest growing racial and ethnic group in the country. For FY23, MOAPIA exceeded all of our key performance indicators, meeting all of our goals regarding performance metrics. This level of performance has become our standard that we continue to meet year in and year out. Some of the highlights of our work in FY23 include our API Community Grant Program, which reached over 2,724 clients through our 9 grantees, our Business Outreach Program that made 2,912 visits to API-owned small businesses in all 8 wards, and 100% rating of the technical assistance provided to district agencies being rated as satisfactory or above, and providing translation and quality control for 460 documents across city governments in 3 languages, Chinese, Vietnamese, and Korean. Our API Community Grant Program has been a longtime resource for MOAPIA to advance its mission to improve the lives of API residents and business owners in the district. At the same time, by making strategic investments directly in API serving community-based organizations, MOAPIA is able to expand its reach into the community through trusted institutions. In FY23, MOAPIA awarded a total of $203,302 in grants to 9 community-based organizations directly supporting API communities. For the fiscal year, the grantees served a total of 2,724 constituents. The cohort of 9 grantees included longstanding partners of MOAPIA with decades of experience, as well as a new grantee that provides services specifically targeting API students and interns. Outreach to API-owned businesses and residents has been part of Moapia's programming throughout its 37-year history. Moapia's staff met with businesses that come to our offices in Judiciary Square for support, and also deploy on a regular basis to support business owners at their locations across all 8 wards. In FY23, in addition to the 2,912 visits to API-owned businesses that I referenced previously, Moapia staff fielded 1,986 calls for assistance. Our outreach staff bring multilingual expertise to this work, providing support not only in English, but also in Chinese, Vietnamese, and Korean. These 3 languages are covered by the provisions of Washington, D.C.'s Language Access Act, which Director Kaba referenced in his testimony, and Moapia's work to ensure the district's compliance with this legislation requires a larger cadre of multilingual expertise than any other agency in the Mayor's Office of Community Affairs Cluster. In addition to these 3 languages, Moapia staff also speak Tagalog, Spanish, and Tok Pisin, the language spoken in Papua New Guinea, making Moapia perhaps the agency that speaks the largest number of languages per capita in the district government. Working in conjunction with city agencies, Moapia staff translated 460 documents into Chinese, Vietnamese, and Korean. In accordance with the Language Access Act, Moapia reviews the work of more than 30 agencies across city government to ensure compliance. Working across generations, Moapia also translated outreach materials for the annual Summer Youth Employment Program and also encouraged DC API youth to apply to this long-standing program. In FY23, Moapia not only conducted broad-based outreach across the diversity of the district's API community, but the team also made specific and strategic inroads with communities to achieve particular goals. In response to concerns raised by business owners and residents in Chinatown, for example, Moapia deployed staff for ongoing engagements in the neighborhood in collaboration with the Mayor's Office of Community Relations and Services, or MOCRS, and a number of stakeholder city agencies, including the Metropolitan Police Department, the District Department of Transportation, the Department of Public Works, the Department of Human Services, the Department of Buildings, and more. In March 2023, Moapia led a community walk of these agencies to meet directly with business owners and residents to identify concerns and challenges. In August of 2023, Moapia reconvened many of these community stakeholders to provide updates and to conduct a graffiti cleanup in collaboration with the Mayor's Office of the Clean City. The relationship building that Moapia has been doing in Chinatown for more than 3 decades, with increased engagement in FY23, has provided a strong foundation for the discussions that are now happening in Chinatown with city government. The Commission on Asian and Pacific Islander Affairs has been a key partner with Moapia in building community since the beginning, bringing together committed district residents from across a diverse array of interests and perspectives. The Commission has been a key resource for Moapia in terms of providing insight into the API community in the district. The Commission's Pacific Islander Subcommittee, as an example, has been particularly active in ensuring this often overlooked constituency is able to engage with the Mayor's Office. For the past 3 years, Moapia and the Commission have worked together to provide a mayoral proclamation recognizing Guam's Liberation Day, a key holiday for the island territory. This proclamation has become a staple in the now annual wreath-laying ceremony that Guam's government hosts at the World War II Memorial in Ward 2. In June of 2023, Moapia was able to present the first ever mayoral proclamation recognizing King Kamehameha Day, an important cultural observance for Native Hawaiian communities. Moapia Director Benji Guzman, I was able to present this proclamation at a lei draping ceremony at the statue of King Kamehameha in the U.S. Capitol Visitor Center, sponsored by the Hawaii State Society. Washington, D.C. is proud to be the only location outside of the Hawaiian Islands where this long-beloved ceremony is held. Moapia shared information about the historical events and activities it participated in during FY23 through its active social media platforms. Over the course of FY23, Moapia experienced growth across its social media platforms. Our Instagram presence in particular experienced a growth of over 20% in terms of its number of followers. Our newsletter continues to have an active and engaged readership, reaching 10,116 subscribers in FY23. We have met and addressed many challenges this past fiscal year. With longtime staff departing and new staff onboarding, our team experienced a number of transitions, even as the district itself has begun to transition from a public health emergency posed from the height of COVID-19 to the comeback that's happening all over the city. New challenges are presenting themselves in FY24, and with much of that change that's happening taking place in locations such as Chinatown, we're poised more than ever to take on these new challenges and play an active role in writing the newest chapter of Washington, D.C.'s story. I'm proud to work in partnership with Mayor Bowser and your committee in helping write this new chapter. Our team stands ready to work with you in service to all our residents and business owners in pursuit of our common goals. I submit this testimony to the City Council, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your service and those who work, and also to the many organizations that's on the ground doing the everyday work as well. In your organizational chart, you currently have 2 vacancies, I believe. Director of Operations.
Our
And,
director of, oh yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, just trying to figure out what they were. Director of Operations and Program Coordinator. Have those been filled yet?
They have not been filled. We have been working with the Mayor's Office of Talent and Appointments, and as I understand, we are about to fill those positions, and offers are actually actively out.
Okay. What about the outreach specialist positions?
We have a position that we are about to fill. Another offer is out there as well. We've been really busy working with them too. We've had a lot of interviews over the past couple of weeks, and we anticipate a lot of new staff coming on board in the coming weeks.
You've been promoting your camera rebate program.
Mm-hmm.
How has that been coming, and are you seeing it being effective? I know you've been focusing on 7 and 8. How's that been working out?
It's been really successful. You know, the camera rebate program is a staple of our outreach pack that our outreach specialists bring with them whenever they engage our residents and business owners. Just yesterday, they were up in Ward 3, and they have another business outreach. They're out every week, and the camera rebate program is a staple of what they talk about with our business owners.
Okay. And I see you started some collaborations, not started, but continue with some collaborations with MOLA and MOA as relates to some of the month soccer tournament programming. How's that your relationship coming as far as reaching out to government agencies, trying to work with them with the community? How's that work?
It's been working really well. I mean, I think we recognize the fact that the 3 agencies that you've talked about, and I would also mention the Mayor's Office of Caribbean Community Affairs, all of us serve significant immigrant constituencies in the district. And while the cultural backgrounds that those immigrant communities represent are very different, a lot of the issues that they bring to the table and that they identify to us are similar, whether it's language access issues, whether it's just being able to navigate city government, whether it's citizenship issues, and in this environment of that's been politically polarized, especially with regard to immigrants, a lot of the challenges that my colleagues and I are facing are very similar.
Okay. I noticed in your testimony, you said that Moapia had working with some constituents, and you started listing the languages. I wanted to know those you are seeing or hearing any barriers as relates to education, both for students, younger and older, as far as in any type of educational settings.
Well, fortunately, we've been able to partner with two of our grantees that have particular focus on education. So for adult education, the Washington English Center has been a particular partner that we've been able to work with, and they have actually beefed up their ability to reach out to and serve Asian constituencies. They have an Asian outreach person on their staff now, which they didn't have in previous years. In terms of working with the school system, Asian American Lead is a youth serving agency that has been one of our grantees for many years now. They just celebrated their 30th anniversary a couple of years ago. And so they make sure that immigrant kids, the kids of immigrant parents who often aren't able to track their kids' progress as much as other kinds of other parents, AA Lead is able to work with us to make sure that we're identifying challenges that those students have as well.
Okay. Any public safety issues you're hearing that are maybe standing out?
You know, as I said in my testimony, we've been working with Chinatown a lot over the past year. And, you know, I think that they have raised many concerns about public safety. But it's also been as much of a fact that they've been able to identify us and MPD as people that are able to listen to them. I think half of the battle is making sure that people who have challenges and concerns have those challenges, just someone to hear them, you know, like they feel represented, they feel like they've been able to talk to the police, they've been able to talk to our offices.
And in that, do you know if MPD has begun to focus, because I know they have some specialized units inside of the department that help language barriers. Are you in conversation with them about a diversity and inclusion in the police department?
We are. The Asian Liaison Unit has been one of the longstanding parts of the Special Branches Liaison Unit. So, you know, they have police officers that speak the languages that I referenced in our Language Access Act discussion. They have Korean outreach officers that are able to talk to our Korean business owners. They have officers that speak Vietnamese and Chinese. And so, as well as other Asian American and Pacific Islander police officers. But the Asian Liaison Unit is able to make sure that the police force looks like the residents that they serve.
I know you said you've been focusing a lot of energy in the Chinatown area. Have you heard any feedback from businesses and constituents about the potential wizards and capitals moving from there?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously something that they are very interested in following, you know, in terms of the news, in terms of like what the latest is happening. We have been working with city government and the mayor to make sure that the concerns and feedback that they have is being directly directed and funneled to the agencies that are best able to meet those needs. So, you know, with things like the mayor's task force for Chinatown, we've done work with, you know, some of the organizations and city agencies that are working in Chinatown. So we want to make sure that they are part of the dialogue in terms of charting out the future of what Chinatown will look like over the next 20 years.
Yeah, because I am going to reach out to Deputy Ratner, who is leading the task force, because I did hear that Clyde was talking about leaving. I'm not sure if you heard that, but I'm concerned that others may follow, and just, you know, it can have a negative economic impact, not just on Chinatown, but to downtown and the city as a whole. And I didn't know how residents feel, because, you know, there are residents who live there.
Yeah, no, you know, For every Clyde's there's a restaurant, just around the corner that's a mom and pop owned place that's been around for decades and is also kind of teetering on the verge. And so we want to make sure that all of our business owners in the neighborhood are able to, turn the corner with us and are able to thrive over the next 20 years.
And let me say this in relation to Chinatown. One of the ongoing things I'm still hearing is the amount of mice and rats down there.
Mhm.
And I know that the mayor has a team that's supposed to address this, and it's not unique with Chinatown. It's all over the city. Um, but the stadium draws a lot of people. And so have you been hearing that in Chinatown at all?
We have been, when we did our community walk with all of the agencies that are responsible for looking after these sorts of things, whether it's the Department of Health and Human Services, the Department of Public Works, because in addition to the Capital One Arena, there's a lot of restaurants there, and so the unique ways in which restaurants are kind of dealing with waste and that sort of thing, I think that has we wanted to make sure that restaurants and our business owners there are able to share their concerns and their ideas, solutions on how to address the problems with DPW, with DMHHS.
How can someone apply to you guys grants? What's your communication efforts to get the word out to communities?
So we begin actually over the next couple of months, we're about to start the process over again in terms of getting the word out about our community grant program to make sure that people know that it's available as a resource, so that when we begin the process of when the letter of, when the NOFAs and the RFAs go out, that people are able to get them and that they're able to come to the pre-bidders meeting, not just as a first time, like, oh, this is my first encounter with it, but it's something that, we've spoken to the mayor's office about. Mawapia talked to me the other day about it because I had a question. So we've been trying to get the word, we try to get the word out through social media, through our newsletter, through our partners, and just make sure that people know that it's a resource.
All right. And what would you say is your hallmark program that draws a lot of people and interest to the agency?
Mm-hmm. I would say that our public programming is kind of our most visible. We're about to partner with the Chinese Consolidated Benevolent Association that brings thousands of people to Chinatown for the annual Lunar New Year parade.
Okay.
So, when we're standing up there with the mayor and with city council members, and I hope you're able to join us as well, uh, we're able to see the thousands of people that come to Chinatown are able to see that our office stands shoulder to shoulder with all the other cabinet agencies, with the mayor. We have a Chinatown Park Community Festival that brings thousands of people to Chinatown Park as well, in June during the summer when there's a lot of people that are out and about. Our Diwali and our Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month festivals bring hundreds of people. So I think our cultural programming has often been really successful ambassadors for us to make sure that the city knows that we represent the diversity of the city.
Yeah, you talk about diversity. I understand that most of your constituents are in wards 2 and 3, as you said in your testimony.
Mm-hmm.
And expanding throughout the city. How are we making sure as a government that we are reaching a little further so we don't miss anybody and make sure they know who you are and how to access the agency's resources?
Yeah, so as I said, our business outreach, our outreach specialists specifically engage all 8 wards. And so I mentioned we were in Ward 3 this week. I think we were in Ward 8 the week before. And so, so we are deployed throughout the city over the course of the entire year. We also are working with our commission to make, like what I referred to in my testimony, as strategic inroads. So there's this kind of informal network of folks that we have in Ward 7 and 8. And I think we want to try to be more intentional about how we get recommendations from them. We anticipate actually recruiting a commissioner to join our commission who lives in Ward 7. And so as we build out our commission, we have a couple of vacancies. We're looking to really make more intentional efforts to convene our residents in Ward 7 and 8 to make sure that they're part of the discussions that make our agency go.
Got it. And I know you said if I can make it, if you can text me the information and send it to Mr. Cal Yeldale from my office, we want to make sure I'm there. My staff is there to
I
be
will do
present.
that.
Yep.
Yeah, it's, February 11th, just so you know.
I know we got a big event on February the 12th. I'm not sure what's going on February 11th. But yeah, let's figure that out, make that happen.
Yeah, please.
All right. In closing, this final note to this hearing: if anyone cannot testify, would like to submit written testimony, you will be including the official record. I want to thank you, Director, for coming before the committee today, and your staff who work hard every day on behalf of the residents throughout the city and just the providers that's in the trenches. And I know we never have enough money to go around. I think you said $200,000. We always want to do more to ensure that we empower people who are empowering and giving resources to people. You can email your testimony to the Committee on Recreation, Library, Youth Affairs at rya@dccouncil.gov. The official record will close Thursday, February the 7th, 2024 at 5:30 p.m. with no other business before this committee. This hearing it's 4:09 p.m. and this hearing is adjourned. Thank you, Director, and to all the witnesses and all the other directors that joined us today.
Thank you.
Thank you.